In life, many people look for the treasure, but few are patient enough to clear the path. Once, a king gave two men a strange task. Their names were Harry and Ramesh. One morning the king took them to two caves at the edge of the kingdom. At the entrance of each cave stood a huge rock that completely blocked the way inside. Scattered in front of the caves were many small stones. The king handed each of them a small metal tool. Then he said, "There is treasure inside these caves, but you must reach it using only this." With that, the king turned and left. Harry looked quietly at the cave. Then he began removing the small stones that were piled in front of the big rock blocking his cave. One by one, slowly, patiently. Ramesh watched him for a while and laughed. "What are you doing?" he asked. Harry replied calmly, "Clearing the stones." Ramesh shook his head. "These tiny stones won't get you the treasure. Look at the real problem." He pointed toward the huge rock blocking the cave. "That is what you should be breaking." Harry simply smiled and continued moving the small stones aside. Ramesh stepped toward his own cave, but the ground in front of the rock was covered with small stones. When he tried to stand close and strike the big rock, the stones kept shifting under his feet. His footing was unstable. The stones kept getting in the way of his swing. Small stones now clearly prevent him from striking properly. Still, he lifted the tool and struck the big rock. Clang! Nothing happened. He tried again, but the stones under his feet slipped. The tool missed the spot and struck awkwardly. Frustrated, he muttered, "This tool is useless." After some time, 3 men from the village passed nearby. They were carrying large iron hammers. Ramesh ran toward them. "Help me break this rock," he said. One of the men looked at the cave and said, "We can't help you with this. You'll have to break it yourself." And they continued walking down the path. Meanwhile, Harry quietly kept removing the small stones piled in front of the rock. Soon the ground around the cave entrance became clear. There were no more stones in the way. Harry sat down near the big rock. He lifted the small tool and began striking the same spot on the rock. Once, twice, again, and again. Ramesh watched him and laughed. "That will never work," he said. "You need big tools for big stones." Ramesh again tried striking his own rock, but every time he lifted the tool, the small stones under his feet shifted. He kept losing balance. The tool kept missing the spot. The stones now directly block his progress. Soon he became irritated and exhausted. Hours passed. Ramesh wiped the sweat from his face. Frustrated, he kicked one of the small stones near his feet. Then he looked toward Harry's cave. The ground there was completely clear. All the small stones had been moved aside. Harry sat calmly, still striking the same place on the rock. Again, and again, and again. Then suddenly, crack! A deep sound echoed through the cave. A long line appeared across the big rock. Ramesh froze. Harry lifted the tool and struck the same place once more. The crack widened. With one final strike, the massive rock split open. The entrance to the cave slowly revealed itself. Ramesh panicked. He rushed forward, but while running across the loose stones near his cave, he slipped. He fell hard and scraped his arm. Still desperate, he grabbed the tool and began striking the big rock wildly again. But the stones under his feet kept shifting. His swings were uneven. Nothing worked. The stones continued blocking him even at the end. Soon his strength faded. He dropped the tool and sat there, exhausted. Harry quietly stood up. He stepped past the broken stone and slowly walked into the cave. Within moments, he disappeared into the darkness. Ramesh sat there silently. Then he looked around. The ground near him was still covered with small stones, the same stones he had ignored from the beginning. Then he looked toward Harry's cave. The path there was completely clear. Every small stone had been removed. Only then did he understand. Sometimes you keep thinking about the big goal in your life, and it starts to feel heavy, almost impossible. But if you look closely, it's not always the goal that's the problem. It's the small things in front of you, the habits you keep delaying, the effort you think doesn't matter. Maybe you don't need a bigger plan or the perfect moment. Maybe you just need to clear what's already in front of you. One small thing, then another. And as you take that first step, you begin to see something clearly. You're not stuck. You are just standing too far from the path. So ask yourself, what is one small thing you've been ignoring that you can start today?